Throughout the history of mankind, wolves have proven to be one of the deadliest creatures to have ever existed. Even today, with the significant advancements in technology humans have achieved, the howl of a wolf still sends chills down the spines of many. These beasts, over the years, have been known for their strategic tactic of hunting in packs, giving them the power that they need to wear out, tackle, and take down large prey. But regardless of their feisty reputation, they usually don't have an appetite for human flesh. Many believe that the reason for this is because of their fear of humans. However, this might not be true, because when push comes to shove, wolves are not afraid to wreak havoc in human territories. So, is it really fear? Here's the story of a murderous wolf. You tell us afterwards if this wolf was anything close to scared of humans. In the 19th century, humans had a very gruesome encounter with a different kind of wolf. One that many referred to as the deadliest wolf to have ever lived, the Wolf of Gysinj. While many may not have been aware, this wolf wasn't different by chance. Based on historical accounts, the wolf was captured in 1817 as a pup, and he was kept in captivity for several years. If humans have ever made any kind of mistakes in their lives, this had to be the worst of them all. You see, while wolves in the wild might be wary of humans because, well, they just don't know that much about them, keeping wolves in captivity exposes them to the reality that, just maybe, humans aren't as scary as they thought. This makes them lose that impulsive fear of humans, and instantly we become to them just another piece of prey. This was the reality of the Wolf of Gysinj. As the years went by and the wolf grew older and smarter, it got tired of living in captivity and constantly being cooped up. So the intelligent wolf planned a successful breakout. Into the years that followed, the wolf grew up learning to survive without a pack of its own in the wild. Because it didn't belong to a pack who could hunt together, the Wolf of Gysinj was probably struggling for food out in that wild. Hungry and angry at humans for keeping it captured, the wolf began its reign of terror on humankind. However long it took for this gray wolf to start going after humans as prey after breaking out of captivity, that remains unknown. But what we do know is that by the end of 1820, the attacks began. The Wolf of Gysinj had studied humans for years and realized that without being armed, we are nothing but weak and undeserving of the fear that wild wolves might have had for us, making us, some would say, the perfect prey. Within the span of just 3 months, from the 30th of December in 1820 to the 27th of March in 1821, this wolf was nothing but a nightmare as it stormed Gysinj, a town near central Sweden. It went on a murderous rampage throughout the entire town, killing and eating children while leaving some injured. Over those very short but stretched out 3 months, Gysinj experienced at least one attack every 3 days. The wolf was out for blood. Calling this wolf an apex predator wouldn't do it any justice, because unlike the packs that wolves usually form to easily attack their prey, not having a pack of its own wasn't in any way a problem for this, as this was a one-wolf riot squad. Being a gray wolf gave it a greater physical advantage compared to other wolves, as it weighed between 80 to 150 pounds alongside its very sharp teeth. And it also was very fast. So fast that it could chase down any single human being in a split second. Being a gray wolf also gave it an intellectual advantage. It was smart enough to realize that there was no way it could hunt down the prey with the same hunting techniques used by the usual packs, so it centered its attacks on the least capable and the weakest of the prey, most of which were children between the ages of 3.5 and 15 years. Including a 19-year-old woman who was killed, and an 18-year-old man that was left injured. After successfully counting all that was lost during the attacks, it was recorded that this beast was responsible for killing 12 people and leaving 19 others injured, bringing that total victim count to about 31 individuals. Out of the 12 people that were killed during the rampage, many of them were found to have been partially eaten alive by the wolf. leaving the people to bury whatever remains they could find of their children while managing to care for those that had sustained both minor and severe injuries throughout the attacks. In the space of those 3 months that the Wolf of Gysinj tortured the residents of the area, the people lived in utter fear and horror, not knowing who was going to be the next victim. Those that were injured continued to relive the horrors of that day, while the families that had to bury the remains of their dead were left to live the rest of their lives in grief. The people of Gysinj realized how much of a problem this was going to become if they didn't act fast and if they didn't act smart. So they decided to fight back as hard as they could to bring an end to this mayhem that the wolf had caused. With no actual details or accounts of what methods were employed on both attacking and killing the wolf, on the 27th of March, 1821, the Wolf of Gysinj, the world's deadliest gray wolf and man-eater, was killed. Although still in grief of the damage already caused by the wolf, the peace of the residents of the area was restored. Many believe that given the period that these attacks occurred, there was no better way to take out the ravaging beast than with firearms. Following the death of the Wolf of Gysinj, the wolves in all of the surrounding areas of Sweden were hunted to extinction. And as the 1960s rolled in, if any wolves were to be in the country, there was only a few of them. However, one thing remains certain. Considering the fact that Sweden shares its borders with countries like Finland and Russia, which have quite the reputation for their wolf populations, Sweden stands at risk of having these wolves make their way back into the territory. And while the entrance and presence of these wolves continues to be a huge topic for debate, many are of the opinion that they shouldn't be given the liberty to find their way back into the country, considering how much danger they pose to human life, using the case of the Wolf of Gysinj as a solid basis for their argument. But with the understanding we have of these wolves now, do you think that the case of the Wolf of Gysinj stands as a worthy argument? Let us know in the comment section below. Time after time, humans have, in one way or another, had a significant role to play in most of the tragedies that have befallen its race. And this case was, of course, one of those. Whatever reason that this wolf had for being put in captivity by humans, we just might never know. But that in itself was the beginning of the problems that these people faced years later. And the message was, well, clear. If humans don't learn to let the wild stay in the wild and continue to interfere in the course of nature, well, then the case of the Wolf of Gysinj might just be the least that there is to see. By December of 2005, the entire events that occurred in central Sweden from December 1820 to March 1821 were acted out in the BBC 2's TV series Manhunters, in its concluding episode, The Man-Eating Wolves of Gysinj. Inasmuch as the episode was aimed at capturing the entire incident, it took artistic liberties of altering some information by portraying how many wolves were involved in the attack, showing 2 wolves, while in the actual incident there was just one man-eating wolf. They equally went on to portray the man-eating wolves as Czechoslovakian wolf dogs. But don't let that nullify how great of a job they did in giving a representation of what happened in times past for many generations to look back on, and hopefully learn from the mistakes of those who have lived before them. They say that experience is the best teacher. Hopefully this episode gives people enough experience to show the outcome of human ignorance from chaos to grief, and keep humans away from messing with the wild and bringing great tragedy upon themselves and the ones that they love.